To jump back a couple of years ago, I suppose at this point, the All-Ireland 2020 All-Ireland final against Corofin. Can you talk to me about your memories of that game? Of course, it went to extra time. You had a great comeback in normal time, and then Corofin, they did all the score and then in extra time. But can you just give me your reflections on that game now?
I try not to think about it, to be honest. I just remember the final whistle. They were going up to lift the cup, and we weren't. Just probably the biggest memory from that day. They were an extraordinary team, and they were brilliant champions. I think they've done 3 in a row, which no other club team have. And listen, on the day, it was, we probably got to see just how good they were. And fair play to Corofin, they were unbelievable champions. I think every team in Ireland sort of had looked up to them over the last number of years.
As a young player, who would your inspirations have been? Who were the people that got a fire lit under you to play football?
Whenever we were growing up, probably our biggest inspirations, yourself, were coming from the guys within the clubs that are playing in the senior team, and maybe you're over training, you're watching the lads after. So it would be your own senior players were obviously the first people that you seen playing. Your father had been a massive inspiration for you as well. Coming up, I know that's how we would have got the senior team, and just watching them and seeing how much effort they were putting in to try and get the club to Division 1. Those men at that stage, that was a massive inspiration for us. And we've been very lucky that when we came to senior football, Kilcoo was in Division 1. So it gave us a great chance to compete in the senior championship straight away.
Who would have been your favourite footballers growing up, locally or more nationally?
More nationally, probably Kieran McDonald. I thought he was exceptional, probably because I was left-footed myself. You had the likes of, when I was young, looking up to the likes of, Oisin McConville was a brilliant player. Peter Canavan in Ulster were brilliant players. You had the Gooch Cooper as well there. All those guys were, unbelievable players, and in your younger years, they definitely would have been inspired by those men,
And do you think there's still room for that bit of flair in Gaelic football? I mean, we've talked already about the goals you've scored in the last 3 games, but do you think there's room for flair, or is it somewhat coached out of it?
I wouldn't say that the flair's coached out. I would say, it's a lot more tactical game now. There's literally, it's about suffocating space in the opposition's half. So I would say for flair, you probably need a bit of room. Getting the room is probably one of the biggest things. That the biggest challenge for players at the minute. But listen, there is guys that you see at some of the guys out there at the minute that they're just unplayable. That you would have seen in last year's inter-county season. Some of them still able to create that space, but it's probably that's what's taking it out of it. It's just that there's such an emphasis now on suffocating the opposition's half.
Who do you think is able to sort of still produce that magic? Is David Clifford is that who you're thinking when you're saying that?
I think it goes without saying how skillful that man is. There's no stopping David. Any day, he's going to kick 5 or 6 points. I think it's more not about stopping him; it's more about damage limitation.